Well, hello everyone. Thank you again so very much for sitting back down and joining me today. It is so very nice to meet you. If I have not already met you in some way, shape, or form, my name is Ryan, and today's video marks the very first entry into our exploration, our adventure, our trials is a poor choice of words. I like adventure. We will use adventure through the Lenzi Baker Giallo collection from Severin Films. We are going to be discussing the very first installment in this box set, being Orgasmo, 1969's Orgasmo. Now, I had briefly shown this in a pickups video. If I remember, which I'm very poor at doing, I will be sure to leave a link in the description box down below where you can please go ahead and check out that video. You notice I am wearing the Camp Crystal Lake hat, not because I am overly excited about it, as I was when I had first gotten it. I'm still excited about it. It's a cool hat. I like it. I'm making two videos today. This is my first day off from the day job in quite some time, and so I'm gonna be rocking two videos. I washed my hair, so it's a little frizzy, so I keep the hat on. Perhaps I will spin it to show that time has passed. So let's take a quick look at the Blu-ray release for this. I went through them very, very briefly in that Picos video when I had gotten the collection set. So let's really quickly go into Orgasmo. What we got here on the theatrical cover art, which is a really gorgeous, really gorgeous poster. I really, really love this painting. And as I mentioned before, if you were not familiar with anything that came in this set, besides the Blu-ray release, which has two versions, the Italian version, which was released as Orgasmo, and the American release, the X-rated American release, which was called Paranoia, which adds a little bit of confusion later on in the second installment. In the American version, to receive its X rating, it had some additional scenes of nudity. We have an audio commentary with Mondo Digital's Nathaniel Thompson and Troy Howarth, who is the author of So Deadly, So Perverse, 50 Years of Italian Giallo Films, and an interview with director Umberto Lenzi. So, besides that, the thing that I'm most excited about with this set, I mean, I am excited about the films, but we get the soundtrack. We get the soundtrack to Orgasmo included in here, which is a really, really good soundtrack, and all of them come with soundtracks. I believe that there's one that has two of the films on there, but I've said it before, I wish that more companies would do something like that. I don't really think that it's always financially feasible, or even feasible at all to do so, but this guy appreciates it very, very much. So let's briefly go into the overall plot and what's going on in Orgasmo, and then we'll go into my thoughts very, very briefly. So Orgasmo is going to be centered around this recent widow, Catherine West, who is portrayed by Carol Baker. She is recently widowed after the death of her much older, very wealthy husband. She goes to his Italian estate. I cannot remember the exact, I don't even know if they actually specifically mention where in Italy it is, but it is in Italy. And she goes to his estate, and she is in a lot of talks with the lawyer Brian, who is sort of handling affairs, liquidating assets, that sort of thing, really helping Catherine through this. Because, I mean, she's now plunged into his assets, and she doesn't really know so much what to do with them, what to do with the family, and what to do with the estate, and et cetera, et cetera. So he is helping her with that throughout the majority of the film, and that's pretty much where we open. And she goes to this Italian estate, this gorgeous house that has the staff that's still there is the gardener, I can't remember his name, and basically the maid Teresa. And while living in this estate, one of her first days there, she comes across a man named Peter Donovan. He has this like nice fancy sports car. It breaks down. He tries to get it jump started, but he's going to need some parts through the mechanic shop, so she offers to let him spend the night. And a romance buds very, very quickly between Catherine and Peter. And Peter Donovan is portrayed by Luke Castel. Luke Castel, yes, I believe it's just Castel. And then later on, she while we have this little budding romance, in comes a woman named Eva, who is portrayed by Colette de Combs, a French actress, who Peter introduces as his sister, and this really insane spiral of love, of free love, of sexuality starts to emerge between the three. But as Catherine tries to come out of this web, of this world that she's being plunged into, those two are bringing her farther and farther into it and basically shackling her into this wild, dark world. So that's the best sort of summary that I can sort of give. I think it's a pretty fair summary. This film is ridiculously wild. It is so insane. First thing that I would say is that normally what I would do is I would definitely always listen to the Italian dub, because I mean, when it comes to, if you're gonna go like a dub or sub type of thing, it doesn't really matter because both of them are going to be dubbed. But the reason that I went with the English dub on this one is because of the fact that Luke Castel for the most part, Carol Baker for the entirety, are delivering their lines in English, and they are doing their own dub. So in order to be able to hear Carol Baker's voice, obviously, I went ahead and listened to the English dub. And the English dub is fine. The Italian dub is definitely a more inferior transfer, and they do note that. But when you're listening to the English dub, there are some sequences that they do not have the proper audio for, or the audio wasn't in any condition to release. So they're really, really small scenes. But those are shown in Italian with English subtitles. But 98% of it is going to be the English dub. And the English dub is great. I mean, because we're having the original actors, or the majority of the original actors, doing their own lines, with Carol Baker herself doing her own lines. So that would be my reasoning for listening to the English dub over the Italian in this particular instance. But this is just a wildly, wildly dark film, because what we have Catherine West, and she is, I mean, she's this recently widowed woman, and you can see this sort of, I don't want to say like delusions of grandeur, because all of these things that she has, this house, I mean, this is hers. She is working with Brian to sort of figure out what she's going to sell off or to transfer, because I mean, this isn't really her type of world. She is really into this. She's really more into ingraining herself into this world of luxury, but with that luxury comes power, and you can see that power that she is exerting over somebody like the maid Teresa, who is definitely the more wary character that we have here, because I mean, really from the very beginning, she is very much trying to keep Catherine out of this world that is going to be being created around her. And when she meets Peter and then later Eva, she it's really so much like it's more into the line of somebody wanting to be in the company of young people. And a little bit of that is going to go into this power sort of issue, sort of similar to what she's doing with Teresa, which is exuding power over these young people, especially in the beginning. But it's really feeling young. It's feeling youthful. Being around these two young people, being in this free love, this free sex type of world. And it's more so, it's not dark at that point. It's not necessarily even a little bit, there's not this undertone of nefarious working or malicious intent in the very beginning. Is it a little strange? Possibly. It's a little, you definitely have the kink in there as well. But as we're progressing, man, it's getting increasingly darker. And where you have, I'm not really going to go into so much spoiler territory, but the more that Catherine is trying to leave, Peter and Eva are keeping her essentially hostage in their world that they have created for her. And as you're going through this film, it's captivating. To me, the story, I was very much invested in the story, because at the very beginning of it, you're sort of having the ideas of what exactly is, let's just focus on Lou Castell's character of Peter. What exactly is Peter's motive with what he is doing for Catherine? Because we can see that this is not necessarily this sort of boy meets girl type of tale. So is it a monetary a thing that he's trying to get out of her? Is he trying to extort money out of her? Is it more of like is it his own power trip? What exactly is going on? But as we're going farther, especially once Eva is introduced and we have this crazy love triangle that starts, really once that triangle is formed, that's when everything just teeters downwards into this spiraling darkness. And once you're in that, really the idea of motive, at least for me, coming from an audience member, the idea of motive just kind of gets thrown out as we're just kind of watching everything unfold and sort of living in that prison ourselves, and sort of feeling the desperation and feeling the anxiety and the panic and the will to escape. It's really, really powerful in my opinion. I really definitely do enjoy Orgasmo. The performances are fine. Carol Baker has a wonderful performance. Lou Castell, okay, he's not terrible, but he's not. He definitely, especially in his scenes with Carol Baker, which is the majority of the film, he is definitely in her shadow. However, apart from Carol Baker, Colette de Combs, the French actress who plays Eva, she's phenomenal. She's absolutely gorgeous as well, but she is phenomenal. And Umberto Lenzi in his interviews, I don't know how much of it is true, he is credited to discovering her. And be that as it may, she delivers a fantastic performance in this film. And one of the things is that originally, Umberto Lenzi credits the titling of Orgasmo, that the production company had titled it Orgasmo. He credits that as being one of the reasons why it was not a success in Italy. Because to him, it took away everything of what he was trying to do with this Giallo. And it really makes you think that you're going to be watching a different sort of movie going in. It definitely did for me. I mean, yes, it does have this erotic thriller angle to this particular Giallo film, but it definitely is not as sleazy. You really think you're going to be getting into some sleaze, but in my opinion, this is not a sleazy movie at all. Yes, there is sex. Yes, there is nudity. That is the nature of the story that we're going into, but sleaze is not part of it, in my absolute opinion. However, he does say that, I mean, whenever they're showing it at film festivals and at Cannes and things like that, he said that there was standing ovations. Like, people around there in those circles really got the film, but commercially it did not do very well. And he does credit that to the title. I think that can definitely play some influence into it, but I mean, I'm not going to put that as the be all end all. There are tons of films that flop financially, but in certain circles thrive, and this perhaps happens to be one of those films. But this is, to start this set, this was a high mark for me to definitely start this set. I absolutely adored this film, and we're going to close this off because, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to have to go and listen to the soundtrack. So thank you all so very much for sitting down and watching this first installment into the Lenzi Baker Giallo collection from Severin Films. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for more additional content. We've got the Lenzi Baker Adventures, Al Adamson Adventures, Fly Adventures, Omen Adventures, collection updates, sale hauls, review videos, all sorts of stuff with much more coming along down the pipelines. If you have a comment on anything, on if you've seen this film, let me know. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. All of my social media and contact information can be found in the description box down below. But other than that, that's all that I've got for you today. I sincerely hope that you enjoyed this video. And I sincerely hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.